Great stuff. Now, like I said, I'm going to crack on. There are a few people still sort of dropping in, and but like I said, I just feel I ought to stick to the timetable. We will be finished at 10:45. I do believe in saying if that's the time we'll finish, we'll get finished by. So, morning everyone. I'm Daniel Bennett. I'm from DNA Business Development. So I work with ambitious businesses in the agricultural sector to help them find and secure customers. I'm based in Cheshire, work from Aberdeen to Hampshire. And anyway, you're all welcome. Now, if it's okay, I would just like to go around the room and just ask you just to say hello and where you're from. Very, very quick, sort of 10, 20 seconds, just so everybody knows who's here. And you've all now turned your cameras off, but hey, I'm going to ask you to turn them back on if that's right. So, look, Roy, you were still on camera. Roy, who the heck are you, and where are you from?
I'm Roy. I'm marketing manager from Passion Ag. Actually, I represent about three little companies in agriculture, previously with UPL Ag Chems, and before that, Omex Fertilizers.
Thanks, Roy. Good to see you again. Luke, don't forget to unmute.
Morning, everyone. I'm Luke Stark. I'm based in Cheshire, and I'm a health, safety, quality, and environmental consultant.
Thanks, Luke. Nick.
Hi, I'm in East Anglia, and I've recently become the marketing guy at Ag Buyers Camp.
Great stuff. All right, good to see you. Andy, God blimey, all the way down from Sussex.
Morning, Dan. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
So Andy Township, sales manager for Haynes Agri, covering the South East. We're pretty much Salisbury to Dover for New Holland JCB. So invited by the good Daniel. So here to have a nose.
Great stuff. Good to see you, Andy. And Martin.
Okay, so I'm based in West Cumbria. I do innovation and I invent stuff. I like practical mechanical solutions that are simple and not overly technical. Most of my work is for the MOD at the moment.
Great stuff. Good to see you there, Martin. And I can see Gemma. I don't know if you're being shy. Do you want to say hello? Just where you're from? Hello, Gemma.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, I'm being shy.
You've got your pajamas on still.
Sorry.
You still get your pajamas on?
No. So I've my background's mainly sort of in farming, breeding cows, and then went into selling genetics. And I'm now selling advertising with the Farm Art magazine. So working for a regional publication and enjoying it very much. And just here to learn as much as I can.
Thanks, Gemma. Really good to see you. Oh,
and you. Thank you.
So he was the last one, and he's just dropped out. So okay, I don't know if it's you or me, you Gemma, or me that did that. But
scared him off.
I'll take the responsibility. Don't you worry. Great stuff. So just to remind you, I'm recording this. Let me know if you want to be obliterated from any use of the video. So I mean, I think you're probably here today because you might want to solve a problem. You might have a specific challenge that you're trying to get over. It might just simply be that you want to enhance your learning and understanding. And I mean, today I'm going to show some of you what I do to help grow businesses and help by finding and securing customers in agriculture. And if that's something you'd like help with, that's great. I can explain a bit later how that can be made to happen. I mean, there are many facets to finding and securing customers. And today we're going to focus on understanding our audience, farmers, that is farmers. And at future Agri-Tech marketing masterminds, we'll explore other aspects of the whole sort of marketing mix. So to set the scene, and apologies if you've heard my soapbox bit before, but I believe it's worth reiterating. Agriculture is arguably the most important industry in the world, and yet without getting too political, it seems many of the wealthier governments around the world are deprioritizing our sector. According to the United Nations, each day 25,000 people, including more than 10,000 children, die from hunger and related causes. I mean, to me, that's shocking. Some 854 million people worldwide are estimated to be undernourished, and increasing food prices may drive another 100 million people into poverty and hunger. So Sorry, just got another admittance. So farmers everywhere have a very important role to play, even if in the shorter term, they are forced through financial pressures to accept non-food producing schemes. Now, it's clear to me to drive improvements and efficiencies in farming, agri-tech has a massive part to play. And it's unlikely that any single agri-tech solution is going to revolutionize the whole food production system. More likely, it's going to move the needle by 1 degree. And but multiple innovations, each shifting the needle by 1 degree, has a really powerful compound effect. Now, of course, the challenge here is farmers don't know what they don't know, and if that makes sense. So, you know, how can we firstly make them aware of innovations, then help them to understand how that beneficially impacts upon them? I mean, after all, if you'd asked a farmer in the 1880s what would help them plough more land, they'd have probably said more horses. A set of horses could plough an acre per day. They had no concept back then that, you know, 100 years later, a tractor would be able to plough an acre in about 20 minutes, unless you buy a tractor from Andy, in which case it's probably about 10 minutes. And that is why it's so important to fully understand farmers' needs, pain points, and motivations. Understanding this means we are in the best possible position to help them. So just a brief overview of this event. The concept behind the Agri-Tech Marketing Mastermind is to share ideas, get creative, explore what has worked and not worked for ourselves. This is definitely an interactive session. I will pick on people, be ready. Assuming no one is still in their pajamas, it'd be great to get your cameras on. Gemma, you're excused. Let's keep this informal. This is not about me doing death by PowerPoint. Actually, there is no PowerPoint. Of course, in the future, we might use the odd slide. In the group, we have a wide range of marketing and agricultural experience and knowledge, but I believe we're all students and we're all teachers. And you could argue that the true test of learning something is being able to teach it to others. So I hope we can all help each other. It's possible you might perceive you have a competitor in the room. How much more powerful is collaboration than competition? The concept is to introduce an agri-tech marketing topic each session and have a short talk about it. Then let's open up the floor to share challenges or stretches and discuss maybe some of the points that came out of it and feedback your ideas. The reality is you're as likely to learn as much hearing others' challenges as you are sharing your own. And of course, any ideas to improve this mastermind are really welcome from me. And after all, feedback is the breakfast of champions, isn't it? I believe in keeping to time, so we will be finished at 10:45, although I will hang around on the meeting if anyone has any final comments and questions at the end. You might be wondering what gives me the right to talk about branding, marketing, growing businesses, and understanding farmers. And I mean, all I ever wanted to be was a farmer, and I ended up as a youngster, I drove big green tractors with yellow wheels. Then persuaded by my fiance, Andy, they're all right. Persuaded by my fiance in 1989, I know I don't look old enough, that farming wasn't going to provide the lifestyle expected of me. We very naively set up a design and marketing business, and I very quickly had to learn about customers and growing a business and marketing. So did that for an awful long time, up until 2016, when she decided not to be married to me any longer. And I decided to go and live my dream again. She went to work on a farm on the Isle of Man, then went to New Zealand as an agricultural spraying contractor. And when I returned from there, remembering how cold and wet it is here in the UK in the winter, I realized I could blend my experience in marketing and customers with my love for farming. So that's why I work with farmers of agricultural sector businesses. So today's topic is the farmer's mindset, understanding their needs, pain points, and motivations. And I think we all know that the rural landscape, and that's both the physical landscape and the metaphorical landscape, hides the reality of modern day farming. I mean, especially at the moment where we seem to be near a perfect storm of political indifference, selling prices under pressure, rising costs of inputs, and to top it all off, the bloody weather. Although, fortunately, over the last week up here in the northwest, we've now had a few dry and sunny days. I'm hoping some of you have also seen a bit of sunshine in the past week or two. And you know, within farming, there's so many stories of perseverance, resilience, and hope. That's the world of farmers. And beyond the idyllic imagery often associated with agriculture lies a complex tapestry with threads, running through the farmer's mindset. So it's an amalgamation of needs, pain points, and motivations that shape the very essence of farming. So if we have a look at understanding farmers' needs, and I mean, you know, we're in farming here, so I hope this isn't patronizing, but almost going back to sort of the foundations of it. The first need of farming is land. And of course, without land, it's very hard to farm. You know, securing land is fundamental, especially for those starting their journey, which we know is extremely challenging journey to take. But of course, any modern business is generally looking for expansion. So again, land is often the restriction. So land availability, affordability, the tenure situations, you know, they're all crucial considerations that impact the viability of farming ventures. I mean, in many regions, you know, access to land remains a formidable barrier for aspiring farmers, particularly, you know, when we get into densely populated areas or regions where and land ownership can be concentrated among a few individuals or corporations. Land tenure insecurity, coupled with rising land prices, often exacerbate this challenge. It makes it very difficult for farmers to establish themselves and invest in long-term agricultural projects. Access to inputs and technologies. Farmers rely on a range of inputs, including feed, seeds, fertilizers, pesticides, machinery, all to optimize production and efficiency. Access to affordable and quality inputs, as well as appropriate agricultural technologies, can significantly enhance productivity and productivity. Smaller scale farmers in particular often face challenges in accessing inputs, and that's due to limited financial resources, inadequate infrastructure, market inefficiencies, promoting access to credit, providing added value services, extension services, and fostering innovation in agricultural technologies. You know, these are critical strategies for overcoming these barriers and empowering farmers to adopt sustainable and efficient farming practices. You know, another big aspect of farmers' needs, market opportunities, access to reliable markets and fair prices for agricultural products is essential for farmers to sustain their livelihoods and invest in their operations. And you know, building robust market linkages, reducing post-harvest and post-production losses, promoting value-added processing can all enhance market access and profitability for farmers. But market volatility, price fluctuations, lack of market information pose significant challenges for farmers, especially those operating in more remote or marginalized areas. Strengthening market infrastructure, facilitating marketing information systems, and promoting collective marketing initiatives can help farmers navigate these uncertainties and improve their bargaining power. We need to talk about education and training. I mean, having spent some time on farms, and I guess you probably all have, you know, the old system of learning on the farm, and you know, if it was a disciplinary, then that was a good old bollocking, wasn't it? But things have changed. Life has moved on. We need to be continuously learning and developing skills, and that's so that farmers can stay abreast of emerging trends, technologies, and best practices in farming. Access to quality agricultural education, vocational training can all, you know, help those farmers develop that knowledge and skills needed to improve their productivity, the sustainability, the buzzword of the moment, and resilience. Limited access to education opportunities hinders farmers' ability to adopt modern farming techniques, and hinders improved stocking and crop management practices, and address emerging challenges such as climate change and other uncontrollables. You know, for example, bovine TB. There's so much to learn about that tragic situation. Investing in agricultural education can yield significant returns in terms of increased productivity, income generation, and food security. And we need to think about social and financial support. Farmers often require social and financial support to weather unexpected setbacks. This last winter, who would imagine that the weather that we've had, and somehow they've still got to manage their cash flows. You know, dealing with crop failures, natural disasters, health emergencies, access to insurance, savings and credit facilities, social safety nets, you know, are crucial for farmers to actually carry on with their living. You know, they need financial service support. All this sort of stuff does leave them potentially vulnerable to economic shocks and livelihood losses. So strengthening rural financial systems, promoting microfinancial initiatives tailored to the needs of farmers, and expanding coverage of agriculture insurance schemes can enhance the resilience of farmers and help them to manage risks and improve their ability to invest in productive assets and technologies. So, I mean, that's the theory behind what we believe farmers need. In reality, the only real way of finding out is by asking them, if you can. That though is a challenge in its own right, because unless a farmer trusts you, they are then very unlikely to open up to you. At the last AgriTech Marketing Mastermind, we explored the importance of your brand. After all, your brand is right at the heart of the promise you are making to your audience. Your brand is the trust. So this all sort of works hand in hand. So what about some pain points that farmers are dealing with? Listen, I've already mentioned it 3 times. Start with the weather. It seems to have only just stopped raining here since last August. We've almost had a week without rain. Speaking to farmers, regardless of other pain points, it's got to be the biggest challenge for them over the last 7 to 8 months. If any of you have got a solution to this, you're likely to become very popular and wealthy. But the next one, I guess at the moment, they're all feeling the pinch. Money is the pain point. I'm not really going to talk about the economy in general, but I mean the day-to-day challenge of managing cash flow, receiving more income than outgoings, i.e. making a profit, that very dirty word, and being able to pay your way and support your family. I mean, many bigger farm businesses have access to accountants and financial forecasting tools, and that enables them to make better quality decisions. But we know that, but as we know, the vast majority of farm businesses are relatively small. And I've always found the definition of SME, what a terrible term, small and medium enterprises. It's a bit ridiculous. Did you know that the government defines SMEs encompasses micro businesses, those businesses employing less than 10 people and an annual turnover of under £2 million. Small businesses less than 50 employees and annual turnover under £10 million. On that basis, the vast majority of farms are micro businesses, and yet making and despite the level of investment required, you know, there's no other sector where you get sort of so little revenue from such a big investment. And you can't discuss farmer pain points without mentioning red tractor. Every farmer I talk to, if you read all the press, you jump on the farming forum, it seems to be the most widely hated system there is, viewed simply as an incompetent bureaucracy. The original concepts seem sound. I mean, we're marketeers here, and I imagine we all believe in the power of marketing and building a powerful brand, and that's what Red Tractor was originally sold as. But now it seems that the tail is wagging the dog, and it really isn't fit for purpose, causing a lot of stress for a lot of people. The next pain point is realization that farmers are price takers and not price makers. Farmers produce food and then ask what buyers will pay for it. Or buyers, especially the likes of the supermarkets, will tell farmers what they're prepared to pay, often with little thought of the cost of production. And the choice is take it or leave it. And, you know, aligned with price taking is a restriction that puts on long-term business planning. You know, as a percentage of revenue, there are few industries that compare with the investment decision farmers have to make. I mean, 1,000-acre combined farm might turn over £1 million. But it's making comparably huge decisions. You know, when you think your combine, if you buy a combine, it'll be from Andy, it'll be a lot more. But you know, maybe a combine's £250,000, tractors at £150,000, buildings, storage. You know, all these things, and yet we are running. We're running small businesses, but we need to invest in this way to stay at the forefront of efficiency, and these decisions need to be made. Something else I hear quite a lot of talk about is data. Data. Farmers are continuously told they need to collect and analyze their data. The big supermarkets want data from their supplying farmers. I mean, no doubt there are some innovative farmers using data to drive improvements in efficiencies. Many others just see data as a further way for the big boys to beat them into submission and further drive down the prices that they get paid. I mean, I could go on and on with so many pain points. So very quickly, the impact of Brexit, rising costs of inputs like seeds and fertilizers, machinery, the environment. We can't talk about pain points without mentioning the environment. You know, what the environmental challenges farmers are grappling with, whether that's soil degradation, water pollution, loss of biodiversity, sustainable farming practices, and you know, we're constantly being told greener agriculture. Again, up here in the northwest of England, in Cheshire, you know, this big drive towards direct drilling, that ain't happening this year, or what, last year. There was only one way to get seed in the ground, and that was through ploughs. And also we need to talk about urban spread, city folk having far more access to the countryside. This is the farmer's workplace, and often trying to dictate how they want the countryside to be for them, without regard of this being, you know, our not our homes, but also our place of work. Lots of regulatory burdens. You know, that farmers are facing compliance with EU and UK agricultural policies and standards. There's complexities of paperwork and bureaucracy involved in accessing subsidies and grants. Have any of you ever tried to fill in a grant application form? The challenges of meeting food safety and animal welfare regulations while maintaining competitiveness, often not on a level playing field, where, you know, countries abroad seemingly don't have the same standards, but we're more than happy to import it. And then there's the digital divide in agriculture and the challenges faced by farmers in adopting new technology. Cost barriers, the need for better access to training and support for implementing this technology. And then the potential benefits of precision farming, automation, and data-driven decision-making to overcome these challenges. So look, there's things like rural development issues. You know, they're addressing the broader rural development issues affecting farmers, such as access to infrastructure, healthcare, and education. You know, have you tried to see a doctor recently? Discuss there's the decline of rural communities and the need for investment and those in those rural economies. And you know, what role does diversification and alternative income streams for farms to maintain farm sustainability? And we really do need to talk about mental health and well-being, acknowledging the mental health challenges faced by farmers under all these pressures, you know, stress, isolation, financial worries. And we've got to get over that stigma of around mental health issues in all communities, but in rural communities. You know, us blokes tend not to like to talk about this sort of stuff. But, you know, there are some great initiatives out there, resources available for promoting mental health. Farming Community Network, the FCN, fantastic charity. You know, so there are things out there, but we still need to be addressing it. And also a subject close to my heart, and I know Luke's as well, farm health and safety. Everybody should make it home at the end of the day unscathed. Just because we've done something for years in a certain way and got away with it doesn't mean it's safe. We're using there's a huge amount of risk in many farm operations, and we need to be taking that far more seriously. So what motivates farmers? Well, financial sustainability, like any business, profitability is a significant motivator for farmers. They need to make enough money to support themselves, their families, and to reinvest in their farms for future sustainability. Also, market demand. So responding to market demands and trends can be a strong motivator for farmers. Adapting to changing consumer preferences or market conditions may involve diversifying crops, adopting new technologies, or implementing sustainable practices. So subsidies and government support. Government subsidies, grants, and support schemes can incentivize farmers to adopt certain practices, such as environmentally friendly farming, methods of diversification, alternative revenue streams, renewable energy production, and such like. And environmental stewardship. You know, farms are motivated by the desire to be good stewards of the land, and actually being paid to do that feels good. But of course, that does conflict with the basic premise of farmers, that's to produce food. But, you know, so this conflict, but if we can look at how we can reduce chemical usage, implement conservation measures, and protecting diversity, that's all good. And let's not forget community and tradition. For some farmers, a sense of community and tradition plays a significant role in their motivation. They may feel a strong connection to the land and a sense of responsibility to continue the farming legacy passed down through the generations. The farms were often at the heart of villages, and you know, we mustn't forget that. And we need to talk about quality of life. You know, farming can offer a lifestyle that appeals to many, and with the opportunity to work outdoors, be their own boss, live in rural areas, and the satisfaction of working with animals, nurturing crops, seeing tangible results. You know, this is a huge motivator for farmers. And resilience and adaptation. Farmers often face challenges such as the weather, we've talked about it, pests, market fluctuations, and the ability to overcome these challenges and adapt to changing circumstances can be a powerful motivator, driven by a sense of resilience and determination. And then in innovation and technology, some are motivated by taking on the new stuff and seeing if they can make it work and how it can improve what they're doing. And it drives efficiency, productivity, and sustainability. Adopting precision agriculture, automation, and data-driven decision making can lead to better outcomes and increased competitiveness. So, I mean, that's really what I've got to say. Blimmin' hell, I've gone blew up, haven't I? If if you'd like to explore any of these points and motivators for farmers, or indeed any challenges around growing a business, I'm happy to have a call with anybody, and let me know, and we can get a date in the diary. But ultimately, as suppliers to the farming world, by understanding farmers' needs, pains, points, and motivations, we're best placed to serve them. So look, like I said, that's me sort of come to an end in terms of what I was going to say. But what I'd love to do is open the floor to people to have you got any observations about what I've said? Have you got anything you'd like to add to it? Have you got any specific challenges that that you would like to share with the group? We've got a lot of brain power here, and maybe there's a solution to a marketing challenge you've got. And if nobody says anything, I'll pick on somebody to ask them what they think. So is there anybody who's wants to kick the ball? Nope. So Roy, come on then. You knew that was coming. Roy, any thoughts about, have I missed anything?
No, you've covered a lot. I think there's a lot to unpack. Now, I think the awkward thing probably for all of us is how you can talk to a farmer that doesn't know he's got the need to tell him he's got the need when he doesn't want to know that he's got the need. And it's trying to get through that first hurdle, I think, especially on digital communication stuff, or anything that's new and different way of working than they might have been doing in the past. Like you mentioned about horses ploughing fields, how you can sort of pull them into new ways of doing things.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Luke, you've got a big challenge, haven't you? Because we're both involved in health and safety on farms, and the resistance, and yet so important.
It is, and I think Roy's right. It's the cultural change. It's the comments or the replies back. Well, that's how we've always done things, and that's okay. I can understand that, and you're right in terms of like an industry where I suppose it's almost driven by the history of the industry. There's a lot of retention in terms of how things were done. I have no problems with that, and it's nice to see farms being passed down from for family member to family member. But when it comes to managing health and when it comes to managing safety, what I've seen typically is, yeah, you've always done it like that, but it doesn't need to be that dangerous. There are better ways, there are safer ways, and quite often there are more efficient ways that just they won't hinder your productivity, but they will make sure that everybody's safe. And like you said earlier on, everybody goes home without any injuries. So I think that cultural change is probably for me the biggest challenge, and trying to get through to farmers that I'm not here to make your life difficult. I'm not here to drive up your costs. I just want to give you something that will make things a bit easier and a bit safer for you. Yeah.
I suppose a very anecdotal observation, but generally where I see farms taking health and safety seriously actually suggests they're probably the more efficient type farms. So actually, of course, health and safety in its own right of protecting people is really, really important. But actually running an efficient farm business, health and safety should be right at the heart of it, because it also contributes to an efficient business.
Yeah, it does. And it makes the employees, the contractors, it will help them feel listened to, it make them feel that they're being looked after. That in turn can produce a very positive outlook when it comes to work. People will work better. There's a degree of accountability on the farm. Everybody is responsible for the health and safety. So they're all quite aware of what's going on, and they want to be aware because they absolutely understand, once that culture is correct, that there are certain jobs and tasks that they're going to be performing which are quite hazardous, and nobody wants to be responsible for that. But at the heart of all of that, there's also just a simple basic message. There is a law in place, and it's not really a request, it's a necessity. You have a law that you must be compliant with. And there are individuals out there like myself that can help you achieve that compliance.
Yeah. Martin, you're in the world of innovation. aren't you?
Yep. Yeah, I am. So the reason I'm here really is for problem statements. What the holy grail for me is a big list of things that farmers would like, would like. I've just written down here. So, what is the most dangerous thing you do? What's the most risky thing you do? What's the most hateful thing you do? What's the job on the farm that everybody hates doing? What's the most, what, and because one of my things is that I like to drill right back to not just the, like, so that with the plough analogy, you ask a farmer what's the problem with, how can you plough better, and he'd say, I want more horses. My question would be, do you really need to plough?
Mm.
Do you really need to plough that deep? Do you really, so if you don't plough quite so deep, can your horses move faster? But without the problem statement, without somebody saying, this dirty hands, this is real, probably a good sign in this context. That's someone saying this is a real issue for me. I don't have any motivation. I mean, I can rush off and invent all manner of weird gizmos that nobody wants to buy, but I think, that's problem statements for people like me are the holy grail.
Yeah.
And just go back to the health and safety thing. So my CV is eclectic, and I spent a lot of time policing construction sites with regards to health and safety and quality. And I think that there's behavioral safety is big. It's about culture. It's about people, and pressure from the employer and culture. But for me, it comes down to craft. It's a bad word. Workmanship is good. If you are a good workman on the farm, you work safely. You acknowledge the risks, and sometimes you take them, and sometimes you don't. And the law is the law, but everybody speeds, and that's the law too. And people break the rules all the time. I love breaking rules. It gives me a bit of a thrill. But it's understanding the risks that you take and accepting those risks, or mitigating those risks. And it's only been that. And so I'm rambling, so I'll stop. But yeah, problem statements. What do people hate doing? What do people need doing? What's the thing on the farm that uses the most fuel or causes the most wastage? Or is it do you actually need a robot cat that's going to catch all the rats? Or do you just need to put an automatic cat feeder so you don't you've got less rats on the farm that run around killing your rats? There's all sorts of things. There's a million and one little things that you can do that would make things better. It's the incremental gains.
Yeah.
But you've got to make them cost effective. They've got to be cheap enough to be adopted and recognised as useful. And now I'm monopolising your time, so someone else should again.
I know, it's a really interesting perspective, and actually something that just really resonated with me was the horses and ploughing an acre a day. And I used the analogy of, well, we can now plough an acre in 20 minutes, and you're saying, why plough? I mean, that's the next step on, isn't it? So actually, if I may, I'll nick that for the next time.
Okay.
Ian, I'm sorry, I don't think you joined in the introduction round. Hello. Perhaps you just tell us where you're from and have you got any observations?
Well, we have a small company making agricultural machinery. Everything I do is pretty innovative. I don't think I'm going to break into the market unless it is innovative, and so we don't go forward with anything that isn't. I find it quite hard to get into the market. Advertising is expensive, etc. Convincing farmers to take on something new is difficult, as we're presently finding with the machine that we make. And we're trying to develop another machine that's a much higher level technology-wise. We're trying to get smart grant. We're trying to get any kind of grant to keep it going, but it's quite hard. Well, that's my background, and I've just joined this meeting because Martin Beadsall suggested it was quite an interesting topic. Hi.
Well, thanks for joining us, and I suppose I'd love to know a little bit more about what sort of machinery you're working on. So, do you mind just sharing very briefly what it is?
Yeah, the machine that we already make is it distributes sawdust into dairy cattle cubicle beds.
Okay.
Where we've got a small grant off the CLEP Cumbria Local Enterprise Partnership to further that into a self-loading version of it, which we're working on at the moment, hoping to get to the market by the end of the year. But we're also working on a different way of distributing animal slurry onto grassland and soil, a more simplified mechanical way of getting it onto the ground, but efficiently, so that it's not thrown through the air and you lose loads of nutrients, etc. But also the technology side is monitoring exactly how much nitrogen and phosphorus is placed on the soil to avoid any excesses.
Okay. No, that sounds really good. Sounds really good. And part of what I hope from the mastermind is I can connect people up. So if people, if you see somebody on here and you say, look, I'm not just going to give them the phone number, I'll gain their permission first. But there might be somebody to have a worthwhile conversation with. And sorry, Andy, I don't want to force it, but obviously you're Ian, you'll have missed early on. Andy is it sales manager for?
Unfortunately, yes.
So for one of the big dealership groups down south, who I'm sure has dairy farming customers, and maybe a 20-minute conversation might work for both of you. Which I would encourage, but like I said, I don't want to force it. But if either of you reach out to me and say, yeah, let's have a chat, then I'll make the connection up. So Andy, I mean, you got a big job. Speaking to lots of farmers. What are you hearing?
It's interesting because we do with many sectors. So we're dealing with fruit, vine, arable, dairy, pigs, across the whole of the southeast, really. And it's interesting, and the biggest challenge for us is knowing where to go next. Okay. What's the next big thing? Because it works. Farming is changing rapidly, massively rapidly, and it's you look at the combine market, for instance, with these SFI schemes now. The combine market is pretty much on its arse now because these SFI schemes that are now being launched. I think the market this year is going to come sub 400 units, which is the lowest ever. So these plus the grain price, obviously, when you got the grain price, the rain, the SFI unit, all of those schemes, all of those things together have just caused a bloody nightmare for combines. It's looking like the grain price is going to recover actually at the end of this year and look quite good. They're predicting some fairly dire harvests around the world, and there's people talking about even £300 plus per ton. Believe it or not, see it, but already the futures are over 200, 220, 230. So it's already on the rise, and that's obviously for us the deciding factor is the money they're making. The price of this kit since COVID has gone through the roof. Which was, it was kind of masked a bit because the Ukraine war came and farmers were making money and actually everybody bought, which was great. But now the price have come back down again and people have gone, not sure. It's quite expensive, which it is. 400 grand for a combine is no small amount of money.
No.
So for us, it's what's tomorrow? What's next? This technology is moving at a rapid rate. We in a business, what we do, we're looking at automation, we're looking at so many things to try and make our lives easier, and the farmers be doing the same. But you can easily jump onto the wrong thing because there's so much going on. What's right, what looks like a good idea, like electric cars. My personal belief is electric cars, great thing. Let's go electric. Everyone's going to go electric. In a minute, hydrogen's going to come out, and electric's going to be poo-pooed. You can already see, the electric car market is slumping. People aren't buying it. The residual values are through the floor. People aren't investing in the electric networks. I think even the government now thinking, not sure. But then when you look at people like JCB, we do a lot of work with. They're now, they're a couple of. I think this year they're launching a couple of machines now on hydrogen. Launching them. So they've done the prototype and now they're actually ready to go. So as soon as there's an infrastructure, there is machines ready to go on hydrogen.
Yeah. And actually, if anyone's interested in that, Harry's Farm did a great YouTube video interviewing Lord Bomford about exactly that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's probably a year old now, but really worth checking out on YouTube.
Oh, and if you go up there, they've got loaders over there, they've got fast tracks, they've got various machines now running on hydrogen engines. They've actually made an engine and it's actually got an AB, so Andy Bamford's put his name on it. That's the next big thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's why you're not seeing many people now rushing for these alternative fuels, because people, I think, know that it's going to be hydrogen.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, look, I'm really conscious of the time. I promised to get you away at 10:45. Nick, I've not been able to sort of pick on you. Gemma, I've not picked on you either. Janice, you've sort of come in a bit later. I hope you've got some value there. You will be able to replay the whole thing. Just on that sort of as a closing sort of remark, Andy, some really great points. Is there a connection there? Maybe a brainstorming session of Andy and Martin and Ian, maybe Luke, if from the health society, any of you. I mean, Roy, you've got challenges as well. Sorry, I'm not ignoring anybody else. Whether a facilitated brainstorm around what are the problems farmers are facing, and with Martin's perspective on it, bringing in a unique angle. Maybe we could add a couple of farmers in there to get their perspective. If that's something that's interesting, drop me a note and let's see if we can facilitate that.
One more thing, so Daniel. Sorry, I just thought about you. We're talking about this next big thing. We've been chatting to somebody now. This is where the world's going. Been chatting to somebody now who's the market for drones, sprayer drones.
Yeah.
That can go into a field, identify weeds, and patch spray and bugger off again.
Yeah, yeah. It's going to come, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
I saw a thing today with a Toad laser weeder. So you literally so AI identifying the weeds and zapping them with a laser.
I think there's some really cool stuff happening.
Sorry, I just interrupt. Anybody who feels has got to go, please. It's not rude. I've said to be finished at 10:45. I'm really happy to stay on and just chat a bit more. No problem at all. But yeah, if you feel you want to drop out, just give us a wave and we'll see you again soon. I'll just say the next mastermind is on the 23rd of May at 10 a.m. I've not made a note of what it is, and Stephen's been sat quietly in the corner, and I'd never introduced him. So Stephen works with me on putting these together. And so Stephen, just say hello.
Hi everyone. Really interesting conversation going on. I am somebody who has a heart for agriculture, so I'm always excited to just listen to you experts, especially with your global expertise in agriculture. I just help Daniel with the whole event and marketing stuff. Yeah.
And he does a great job as well. So like I say, if you feel you want to get off, that's great. If not, let's just carry that conversation on. Thanks for being here, and remember, hope is not a strategy. Okay, on that bombshell. Okay, bye to anybody. But yeah, Andy, you just finish that conversation. It'd be brilliant.
What about the drones?
Well, sorry, Martin then said something at the end, didn't he?
Oh, it was just the laser weeders. I mean, I think
Yeah.
and the weeding drones. I think I don't know. Drones don't fix everything, in my opinion. And I work in the military, but I think drones have. I think with the weather this year, I think mapping drones for levels and identifying where water will pool and deciding where the water's going to go and how you're going to hold it, how you're going to make it infiltrate. I think there's massive scope for that in the agriculture industry. I think
certainly for things like crop walking and looking at crops and where we're going to spray and yields and all that stuff. Yeah. I mean, that you can actually fit stuff on the front of a tractor now. So an orchard tractor, as you drive down the orchard, spraying, topping, whatever you may be doing, and it actually counts the apples. So it can actually predict your yield, because as you drive down the orchard, it counts the apples.
Wow.
But then there's a reason why the AI picking robots are done for strawberries and cherries, and it's because of the contrast it makes there. At the moment, it makes it easier work for the AI. Because of course,
I think There's some really cool stuff going on out there. And the trouble is there's so many things in development, but nobody like us, you don't know which way to go, because what seems like a really good idea today is going to be trumped by something tomorrow.
Well, in R&D, there's a thing called the TRL scale, technology readiness scale. You may or may not have heard of it. 1 to 9. 9 is number 1 is a rainbow bridge to the moon, and number 9 is a product on a shelf. And there's a TRL 6 is what they call the Valley of Death, and it's when you get to so the TRL scale was invented by NASA as part of the moon, getting to the moon. They realized they had to invent like 1 million things, and they had to actually manage the invention of 1 million things. So they've managed to invent the TRL scale. That's where that's come from, but it's universally a thing in innovation. So TRL 6 is the Valley of Death, and it's the point where you get out of my workshop where I've had a great idea and built a brilliant thing and done a prototype that works. And TRL 7 is where the industry, people like you, Andy, turn up and say, that looks good. I'm going to put, let's work that into a product and put it on a shelf. But no one's going to buy £1 million cherry picker.
No.
Yeah. And the problem with a lot of tech is that people get really excited about putting AI on it and technologifying it up. But then you say, oh, brilliant, that's that's great. I want that. I want Ian's slurry dispenser. It's £1 million, you say. Oh, no, we'll use the thing we've got. And that's the real challenge for innovation, is bringing the cost down. And I think that a lot of people, my thing is to repurpose things that already exist, and that's what Nintendo did when they invented the Game Boy. Sorry, but so rather than reinventing new technology, is make best use of things that already exist, mature technology that's reliable and sensible and works, and use that to best effect. That's my full pen.
There's something you talk about cherry pickers that makes me think I thought we'd hit the jackpot this year. We've been pushing the grape harvester. We've got vineyards everywhere in the south. I mean, literally everywhere there's a block of land, somebody's growing grapes, which is awesome for wine lovers. But we offer this solution with this grape harvester. Actually, it's a fraction of the price of having a picking team from wherever they come from. I mean, literally a fraction of the price. And it pays for itself in a year, in some cases, 2 years, 3 years. But it saves all the hassle, saves the accommodation, saves health and safety and everything else. But actually, the wine industry just isn't ready yet to go to mechanical grape harvesting. But it saves. You can harvest a vineyard in a day. You can harvest a vineyard on your own. You can do it when the weather's right. There's so many benefits to using a grape harvester in a vineyard, but still the wine industry is just not ready.
But at one point, grapes were crushed by monks treading on them, weren't they? That you will go through that at some point. It's just the right time, isn't it?
But a lot of it is the wine industry itself, because they say, well, it can't be called a certain class of wine if it's mechanically picked. So it has to be picked by hand to be called, I don't know, I don't know I'm not one of the wine experts, but like champagne can't be grown outside of the Champagne region, similar sort of thing.
Yeah.
But actually you can't, and it can't have that label because it was mechanically picked, not hand picked. You think, well, what's the bloody difference?
But then this is where the marketing innovation connects with marketing.
100%. It's holding it back.
How can we then actually use that unique story to actually say, right, this it might not be champagne, but it's better.
Somebody just needs a slap somewhere, don't they?
Actually, but sorry, Stephen has reminded me. Next time's Agritech Marketing Mastermind is from innovation to implementation. Ensuring agri-tech solutions address farmer needs. So we'll carry this conversation on, won't we? Well, look, if anybody wants connecting up, just drop me a message and I'll connect you up. Really appreciate your enthusiastic participation, even if I had to drag you in screaming and kicking to start with. But that's what happens when you attend a Bennett sort of webinar. But look, yeah, really enjoyed that, and I hope you've got value out of it. Ian, I hope that's helped a little bit. Maybe we should have a chat at some point. Martin, would be great to catch up. Andy, let me know when you got a tractor I can come and drive. Yeah, and Luke, thank you very much. It's good stuff.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for your time.
Oh, and Gemma, assuming you're still there, we'll speak
I
to
am.
you. Sorry, yeah, I didn't drag you in very much. You won't get away with it next time, though.
No, it's all right. It's been really interesting, especially the machinery side, because that's definitely something that I've not had loads of experience with. My husband's more sort of that sector. So yeah. But I think generally just, making sure that you're adding value to, for what you're offering. I think that's the key thing, whether you're approaching a business or the farmer, the end user, it's,
Great stuff. And Janish, thank you for joining in. Obviously, you got here a bit late, but the whole recording will be on YouTube very shortly when Stephen does it. And thank you all for attending. And see you in a fortnight's time.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. Cheers, Daniel.
All right.
See you later.
Oh, he's gone. Hello, Stephen.
Yeah, I think you can stop recording now.
Oh, yeah. Good job. You remind me of that sort of stuff.
Great.